Hello everyone, my name is JJ and welcome back to another exciting episode of JJ Opens Parcels that his weird foreign viewers sent him. I know we just did one of these videos quite recently, but what can I say? You people just keep sending me mail and I have to keep opening it. So let us start with this parcel right here. This one comes to me from my friend Julia from Kurztown, Pennsylvania. After last time's video, I must say Pennsylvania is fast becoming my favorite state, just given all of the cool stuff they seem to have there. So Julia has sent me this charming card featuring the art of famed American pop artist Keith Haring. She says, "Greetings from Kurztown, Pennsylvania. We are a small town of about 4,500 people, situated halfway between Allentown and Reading. I present you with some items that remind me of this area, including the art on the front of this card. Keith Haring is a famous artist and comes from Kurztown." That's very cool. Sometimes the most famous artists come from the most unlikely of places. In this second card, she tells me that Keith Haring is most well known for his murals and his activism in the AIDS community during the 1980s, which is very true. This one actually features a charming depiction of another famous American artist, Andy Warhol, depicted as a famous American cartoon character, Mickey Mouse. There have been so many great Americans over the years, sometimes you really just need to take a step back and pause with appreciation at the sheer volume of creative content they've produced. So Julia has sent me a container of some sort of charming soda, which unfortunately looks like it has broken or opened or leaked or something during the course of the mail. This has now happened a couple of times, so if I could just have a public service announcement for anyone who wants to send me mail in the future, please do not send glass bottles through the mail. The likelihood that they will survive intact is very, very low. But anyway, this soda is called Pollock's Kefir Pop, craft brewed with hibiscus. I actually don't know what hibiscus is, but it is clearly a fermented drink. It smells quite a bit like alcohol. Oh ho, look at this. This is a very American thing as well. This is some sort of super spicy hot sauce. It is not triple X, but it is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so it's quintuple X Scorpion, scorching hot. We have Tangy Tammy's Hot Licks hot sauce. Holy habanero. So basically, Julia informs me that these hot sauces are produced locally in her community, and that the Tangy Tammy hot sauce is actually one that she makes herself for her taco stand, and she has actually sent me a promotional apron for the taco stand, which is called Taco Revolution, hence the communistic-y sort of iconography. So some free advertising for you there, Julia. Oh boy, and we also have a great deal of snack treats here. Let's see if any of you guys recognize any of these beloved local brands. So we have some Bachmann brand pretzel sticks. She says that pretzels are a very iconic food in the Pennsylvania Dutch area, which I guess Kurztown is part of. She also sends me these bizarre looking things. Pot pie squares. So these are some sort of noodle. The logo features these little designs that are quite reminiscent of the Pennsylvania Dutch bar decoration that one of my earlier viewers sent me in an earlier video. I'll put that up on the screen so we can see these side by side. So look at this. My horizons, my familiarity with Pennsylvania Dutch culture is broadening at an exponential rate. So Julia says, "I assume that you are very confused by this item. In Dutch country, throw out your idea of a pot pie. Here it is actually a soup/stew. It is made with the most of the same ingredients, plus these egg noodles instead of a crust. A simple, authentic recipe is on the back of the bag. Well, chicken pot pie soup. An American classic, says the back of the bag." But this is very cool. This is really unique American local cuisine. Sort of thick, weird, square crust noodles. I will have to try to prepare a meal using them at some point. And then we've also got these delightful store-bought snack cakes made by the Tasty Cake Corporation. Tasty Cakes can be found all over the Philadelphia region. Only recently, after being bought by a Georgia bakery, did this brand of snacks make it out of this region. She says that these particular makes of cake, which admittedly do seem quite exotic, are made by the Tasty Cake Corporation and no one else. I assume because they are in some way reflective of the local culture. So we have peanut butter candy cakes and butterscotch crimpets, both of which certainly sound foreign. Okay, let's just move this out of the way. Let's see what else we've got for here. Okay, so we've got a big jar here. Bacon dressing by Jake and Amos. She says this is a Pennsylvania Dutch specialty that is supposed to be eaten hot over your salad. Has a very sweet taste, with the main flavor being bacon. I'm actually a vegetarian myself, so unfortunately I will not be able to taste it because I see it actually does include actual bacon. I see that the Jake and Amos Amish-style recipe corporation is one of these companies that puts the Bible verses on their packaging. Oh, give thanks unto the Lord, for he is good, for his mercy endureth forever. It's what I think about when I think about salad dressing. She has sent me some Birch Beer from Kurztown. This is a drink that we have in Canada as well. I've never actually tried it myself, but I know that it gets its name because at one time I believe it was actually made of birch. Even though it is super flat, it is very good. It tastes a lot like, I don't know, it tastes like root beer, but not as sort of spicy, if that makes sense. Sort of like how root beer flavored candies taste, so very sweet, very sort of vanilla-y as well. And then lastly, in addition to some charming postcards from Kurztown, I have been given a copy of the Kurztown Area Patriot newspaper. So this is good. I can hold it up like a hostage video. Kurztown St. Patrick's Day Parade draws unruly crowds to Kurztown. So I suppose it is not all smiles and sunshine in this charming Pennsylvania Dutch community. Thank you so much for all of this really charming, cool stuff, Julia. Let us look at this box next. This one comes from my friend Max, who is from New York City. Wow. Just like that old salsa commercial. Are you guys old enough to remember that? The New York City salsa commercial?
New York City!
Here is a letter from Max. Hey there, JJ. I've been watching your videos since you had a mustache, so I figured it was about time I sent you some things. So he says he sent me a bunch of stereotypical things from the city. I see we have a map of the New York City subway system. And of course, we've got one of these charming I Love New York shirts. An officially licensed product. You can tell it's officially licensed because it's not just I Love New York, but it's I Love New York, tiny trademark in the bottom corner. He's got me this charming little figurine of the Statue of Liberty. He's got me a Metro card so that I can use the New York City subway system. He has sent me this very cool retro American $10 bill featuring good old Alexander Hamilton. And since he informs me that he is Jewish, he has also sent me this box of matzah, the unleavened bread that Jewish people eat around Passover. He says he likes it with butter, but it is best enjoyed with horseradish or charoset, which is a mix of dried apple, chopped walnuts, wine, and spices. Well, I'm not very familiar with Jewish culture. There are not a lot of Jewish people out here in Vancouver, but I have heard the legends of matzah that the Jewish people have to eat during Passover. Wow, look at how big it is. It's like a giant square. Look at this. On the top of the box it says, start your own new family tradition for Passover. Order your Sam the Dancing Matzo Man and receive free shipping. My main association with matzah bread is that there was a Passover themed cartoon on Jib Jab. Remember Jib Jab, that site with the animated face people? And there was like this matzah rap. And I just remember there was one line where the guy's like, it tastes about as good as the box it came in.
How could one bread rock it so famous when the taste is the same flavor of the box it came in?
Let me just give it a try. Yeah, that seems about right. So thank you very much, Max, for all of this cool New York stuff. Even though I was actually in New York fairly recently, I actually didn't buy any souvenirs while I was there, but now I've got a real good assortment of them from an authentic New Yorker. Now, in contrast to the other two boxes, which just came from boring old America, this box comes from the exotic land of Poland. My friend's name is Krzysztof, and he comes from the city of Warszawa. I very much appreciate you guys sending me these giant parcels. I know it is very expensive to do international shipping, so it means a lot to me. The cost of the shipping in many cases probably exceeds even the cost of the nice things you bought for me. So Krzysztof has sent me a charming assortment of Polish things along with a little guide to each one of them. Oh, look at this charming Easter egg. He says, Easter tradition in Poland is to paint eggs in folkish patterns. He says that this is not an OC, he actually bought this. You know, I've heard it said that the whole tradition of painting Easter eggs is really one of the great unsolved mysteries of Western civilization. We don't really know why or how this tradition emerged, but it seems that the Eastern Europeans in particular are very fond of it. And then he has also sent me a box of matzah. So he sort of presents this to me as a symbol of Poland's history of diversity. Obviously, a lot of the Jewish people in Poland were killed in the Holocaust, and many others, as he notes, emigrated to Israel after the war. But I suppose there are still some remnants of Jewish culture in Poland to this day, including Jewish cuisine. But I suppose the real question is whose matzah is more delicious, the Poles or the New Yorkers? You can see that on both of the boxes they actually have the little kosher certificates on the side. Christoph has also sent me a bottle, which, miracle of miracles, it did in fact survive. This is a bottle of hopped water. There's a lot of craft beer being made in Poland over the last few years. What I send you is water with some fancy hoppy added. It is not even technically a beer. He says this is the most hipster thing of all, so that's great to hear. Nice packaging on it, I would say. And in order to open my bottle of hoppy water, he has sent me this charming bottle opener with the skyline of Warsaw. Oh, I see. My previous difficulty to pronounce the name of his city was just me attempting to pronounce, I guess, the way that you write Warsaw in Polish, which is to add a few extra letters. Oh, and here's another magnet of the Polish skyline. So he tells me that the sort of the domineering building of the Polish skyline is this enormous tower, which was built to be the Joseph Stalin Palace of Culture and Science, built to be a symbol of Soviet domination over Poland. He says, it takes up a lot of space and is really ugly and useless, and there's a lot of useless, ugly concrete space around it, and it's really ugly and many people hate it. In fact, the current Prime Minister once said he'd like it demolished. So that's quite interesting, isn't it? You know, we have a lot of conversation about the statues, right? Controversial statues of controversial people, and whether or not those should be torn down. But in some countries, they have controversial architecture, you know, large buildings or sort of city infrastructure that was built by various despotic regimes of the past, and that becomes a sort of difficult question of how you deal with that kind of thing. Because oftentimes the architecture is actively being used for some sort of purpose, and, you know, it's difficult to just take in the wrecking ball without consequence. I remember that this was an interesting issue they had a bit in Germany, where if you go to a city like Munich, where I was, there is still some sort of Nazi-era architecture, which is, you know, quite striking and imposing, but, you know, it's been repurposed for other uses, and people have just sort of decided to get over it, I guess. Oh ho, and here we have a charming postcard of Pope John Paul II, who of course was the first Polish-born pope. Christoph says that John Paul II has a statue in every town and a poster in every house. And he says that he was so revered that he ultimately wound up becoming the subject of many edgy memes by the younger generation because he was sort of the symbol of ultimate pureness and good, and making fun of him was the edgiest thing Polish teenagers could think of. And then we have this can of chai cola, Polish soft drink made of black tea and plums. He says there is one true traditional Eastern European soft drink, kwas. In Polish, it literally means bread acid, but it's hard to find a good one in Poland. So I suppose instead the Poles have to satisfy themselves with the chai cola. I will attempt to drink this. Let us see what weird soda from halfway around the world tastes like. That's not bad. It very much, it tastes like the kind of thing Europeans would drink, you know? It's kind of sweet and cool, but also kind of off in a weird way. Like, you know, Coke maybe with a few more teaspoons of cinnamon in it. And lastly, he sent me some coins from various places, including some euros and Polish coins. A lot of people have been sending me money specifically, by which I mean like coins and bills and stuff. So I think in the future I will make a special video just about the money that you guys have sent me, rather than include it in this kind of stuff. But anyway, thank you very much, Christoph. That was a very awesome sort of medley of traditional Polish things. Poland is a really interesting country. I think in some respects we often think of it as sort of like the superpower of Eastern Europe. I don't know if that's true or not, but their culture seems very rich and very fascinating, and I suppose there are a lot of Polish people in North America, so maybe we have a somewhat inflated sense of their relevance. But as far as Eastern European countries go, it would definitely be near the top of my list of places to see. All right, and now lastly, we have this giant box from my friend DJ and Michaela from Dallas, Texas. All right, so they have sent me this big long manifest of all of the goods in here. I think I will just put everything on the table one at a time because this is going to be quite the adventure to get through. So we have this charming star. He says usually these things are about 10 times as large and are hung outside on people's houses. He says these things are called barn stars and are actually common all over the US, but a lot of Texans think that they represent the Texas Lone Star and are therefore a Texas thing. They have sent me a mug with an image of the blue bonnet, the state flower of Texas. a container of Dr. Pepper, a beloved Texas soda that I know has since made its way to other parts of the US, and even Canada. They have sent me some Aunt Jemima syrup and some organic maple syrup. They say so I may evaluate them, you know, coming as I do from the land of pancake syrups. But unfortunately, I must say that both of these brands are actually available where I live. In today's globalized world, you can no longer take it for granted that the Canadians and the Texans will be eating different stuff on their pancakes. Got me some various forms of beef jerky. Nothing says Texas like that. A thing of peanut brittle, another very iconic southern US snack treat. It's been a long time since I've had any peanut brittle. I don't think it's that common where I'm from. They got me this license plate that says, "Don't mess with Texas." People who did not grow up in Texas think "don't mess with Texas" means yeehaw, back off or I'll shoot you with my guns. And while that might also be true, native Texans know it actually means don't litter, that's all. Oh, that's interesting. We got some Wolf brand Texas chili. We got a few different types of salsa and hot sauce, which I suppose I can use in my Texas chili. We have some bluebonnet seeds, so I can plant my own Texas state flowers. And then we also got some packages of ketchup from the Whataburger restaurant. It would be fair to say that Whataburger is the Texas state fast food establishment on par with the state flower or bird or what have you. Its ketchup is legendary. Texans who travel out of state often find themselves craving Whataburger and making it a point to visit as the first order of business upon their return. I am not making this up. He says that Whataburger is to Texas as In-N-Out is to California, which is very cool. Always enjoy hearing about America's beloved regional fast food franchises. They also sent me this flyer for one of the for-profit medical clinics in their area. It says, "I imagine this will be a pretty strange concept to your non-American viewers." I guess it sort of is. I don't know actually. In your country, do you ever get flyers like these from various privately run medical establishments? I know not every country has a medical system quite as socialistic as Canada's. And then lastly, we have this charming Dallas t-shirt with the Dallas skyline. And of course, a beautiful Texas flag. So, good Lord, that was a lot of Texas stuff. Thank you so much, DJ and Michaela. You guys really went above and beyond with the gifts. Texas is a fantastic state. I've been there once myself, but man, after seeing all of this stuff, I really want to go back again. So once again, I find myself really overwhelmed by the generosity of my viewers. You guys have sent me so many cool educational things that have really helped me learn a lot about where you guys come from. You know, last weekend was actually the 3-year anniversary of this YouTube channel. When I started it back in 2015, I would have never guessed that I would have quickly gotten to the point where I became one of those YouTubers who was unboxing fan mail. But now this is so much my reality that I can barely keep up with all of the mail that you guys are sending me. It has really been a very cool ride. If you guys enjoy unboxing videos like this, you can always feel free to send me mail of your own. Just drop me an email and I'll let you know where to ship it. Next week, we will be back to ordinary videos. But until then, I have a lot of matzah to eat. See you guys later.